We're gonna see how to create our chatbots, and chatbots in the AWS is created using Amazon Lex. So you log into your console and search for the service Lex. So I'm just trying to find that service. So here is a service, Amazon Lex. Once you get that service, you have to create your chatbots. So Lex is a service for building conversational interfaces into any application using voice or text. So I already had one chatbot. For the demo purpose, I'm going to create one chatbot. So you have an option to create a custom chatbot. So I'm going to give the bot name. So bot name is book a cab. So I'm going to select output voice, and I'm going to define the session timeout limit, and rest of the things I'm going to keep it as default. So I'm going to say create and let the Amazon Web Service create our chatbot. Now that the chatbot is created, we need to define certain parameters, and the first thing is define utterances. Now utterances so these are the inputs that user gives. For example, I would like to book a cab. So this is the first question that user asks. So you can define multiple utterances. So I'm going to define two different utterances called book a cab or I would like to book a cab. So after that, we're going to define slots. So slots are again parameters that an intent might require. So probably you can define the location, source, destination, time, date. So I'm going to define my source as a slot, and then you have predefined slot types. Now I'm going to select city as slot type. So I'm going to define the prompt. So prompt should ask for your city. So I'm going to say please enter the pickup location. So that's my slot number 1. So chatbot might ask you for multiple questions. So I'm going to define multiple slots. So after slots, we're going to define destination. So my second slot would be destination, and slot type would again would be a city. Suppose you're asking for an information to book a cab to travel from one city to another city. So you're gonna choose the slot type as city. In case if you're gonna travel from one area to another area, there are other slot types that you can choose from. So now my prompt is ready to accept the input parameters. So the prompt should ask user to define the destination. So the best English sentence is please enter your destination or your city name, whatever you like to, the user friendly message. Now the third slot type I'm going to define is to ask for a date, probably when are you going to travel, right? This is the next question that chatbot should ask you. So the slot type, there's already a predefined slot type called date, and the prompt you can define as which date are you going to travel, which date you would like to travel, something like that. Now the last thing is probably you can define a slot type as name. So this is like chatbot is asking for the username or the customer name or something like that. So you have predefined slot types again as name or first name. So prompt would be again please enter your name or first name or whatever it is. So once you define all the slots, you can define which is required, which is mandatory, and which is not mandatory. Now the next thing is to add a confirmation prompt. So you're gonna ask, are you sure you wanna book the cab? Something like that. So once you add a confirmation prompt, you're gonna define what happens if user is going to choose no. So if user cancels the prompt or says no, you're gonna define the message that you're gonna give to the user. So rest of the parameters I'm gonna leave it as default, and then I'm gonna say build. So once the chatbot is built, you can test it and then you can publish it. So the first step is to build it. Now I get a message that build is successful. So now this chatbot is available for you to test it. So let's see how we're gonna test it. Let's input certain user inputs, user messages, and then see how it works. So the first thing is user comes in and inputs his questions. So that is called utterances. So when I give that message, this is gonna ask you for the next question, the pickup point. So once I'm gonna define the pickup point as New York, it's gonna ask me for the destination. Look at this. So now once I define my destination, it's gonna ask you for the date. That's how the sequence has been built. You can change the sequence as well. So now I'm gonna define the date. So this is gonna ask me for the confirmation prompt. When I say yes, now this is the return message I get. The name is not present. It's not been asked by the bot because you didn't mention it as mandatory. Once you define that as mandatory, this question would also be asked. Now once the response is available, you can see the summary and the detail would be in the JSON format. I'm going to show you that as well. Once the build is successful and has been tested, we're going to publish it. So to publish it, it's going to ask for the alias name, and once we define the alias name, it's going to take that and publish it. Now it's been published successfully, and now we're gonna see what else can we do. So we're gonna go to channel and then see what actions that can be performed on this bots. So for the demo purpose, I'm gonna show you how to delete the bot. So other than that, you will have other options. You will have a tab called actions, and then you can import, export, or delete. So I'm gonna delete these bots and see what happens. So I'm gonna choose the bot and say delete. So this is a confirmation box, and this is an error which I get because I have defined an alias, and then once you delete this alias, you would be able to delete actual bot. So I'm going to delete the alias. So there's an option to manage tags and delete the alias. So I have deleted the alias. Now the next thing to do is to delete the bot itself. So once again, I'm gonna choose the bot and say delete. So this should allow me to delete the bot itself. So this is again gonna ask me for the confirmation. Once I say confirm, this is gonna delete the bot. So this is one more bot that I created earlier. This has also got the same problem that you will have to delete the alias first and then delete the bot itself. So now the bot should be deleted. I say confirm and the bot gets deleted.